Welcome to the Empress Addi show. This is episode 12 for season 1. I'm really excited. Today's title is Coming Home to Possibility, Nationality, Identity, and the Paper Trail. I don't know why I can't speak today. Our guest today is Geronimo Moimaiya. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Maya. Yes, ma'am.
Thank who focuses on, he's a constitutional advocate. He focuses on trust and contract law, nationality, and document prep. Am I right on that?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm really excited about our conversation today. We're really narrowing in on nationality and identity. And I really want to understand what people mean when they say FBA, Foundational Black American, and the difference between that and Indigenous American, or I'm Cherokee, I'm Choctaw, and what the law actually recognizes, right? For example, US citizenship and nationality, tribal citizenship, and documentary proof. Our goal is for clarity, it's not for controversy. This conversation is educational and cultural. It's not legal advice. I don't believe you're a lawyer. Are you a lawyer?
No.
Okay, so we need to stipulate off rip. This is a conversation. This is not legal advice. But my guest is Geronimo Moimaiya, a constitutional advocate. I said that already, but I will say it again. He supports pro se litigants with trust law, contract law, and document preparation. Now, let's separate lived identity from paperwork. So, respectfully, rigorously, and with love from me and our ancestors. I am someone who always give honor to those who walked this earth before me, those who formed me, those who opened doors for us. I send them a huge aibobo that I could be sitting here with you today. So, ashe to them.
Oh, shit.
So welcome, Geronimo.
Thank you. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
having me. Thanks for having me.
Now, as we get in, I want to hear a little bit about your background, where you come from, your parents, and you can land on how you got into this.
hmm Uh, I was born in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent majority of my life in Texas. I had the privilege of growing up in both places and being able to go back home and all that good stuff. So seeing the best of the both worlds, right? I moved down this way when I was about 13 to 14. So, like I said, I've been here for a good little minute and became an adult here. My parents, my mother is originally from St. Louis.
Okay.
That's where she was born, at least.
Missouri.
And my father also Milwaukee.
Okay.
The side of my father's family is what I've really been getting into because there's a tree is crazy because it's a lot of us. I have about 15 or so siblings myself on my father's side. So yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that, y'all. And he is one of about 12 himself. So I'm gonna get back to y'all on that side. But
Right. Your family's been spreading seeds.
oh
Great.
yeah, yeah. Well, from the research I found so far, it's been leading to Jamaican, right, or Haitian roots from certain names that I've been able to identify. I'm just getting further into that before I could say definitively, right?
Mhm.
As far as my mother's side, I've been able to do a whole bunch of research, and I'm actually more. I'm not going to negate the father side of lineage, and I want to make that clear. I want anybody to feel like our fathers don't matter, right? But all of our fathers come from women, so this is why we need to focus on the matriarch. But even still, our fathers, his mother, that's what's most
Yeah.
important, right? Because they come from women. So
Well, yeah.
my
Well,
mother's side.
that lineage is scientifically uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Patriarchal.
yeah, yeah, like it's everything goes directly to the mother, right?
Hmm.
Grandmother, great grandmother. You
Right.
can't. It's irrefutable evidence, right?
Mhm.
So my mother, her side, I've been able to trace us all the way back to about 1741 in Wake County, North Carolina.
Remarkable.
Right. Yeah, we have family records, military records, birth certificates, census reports, all types of good stuff. And it shows the migration pattern from North Carolina to Mississippi, where we currently have land and have had land for over 100 years. And then from us migrating from the South to the Midwest, where a lot of us were born, like this, a newer generation of us, which have all then moved right back down to the South, which we rooted at. That's both sides, my mother and my father's side.
Hmm. That's amazing. And so, beautiful story. I'd like to know, how did you come into being interested in contract law or identity documentation?
I got into learning it all initially. If I could be completely transparent, I got into it learning about a situation I was dealing with. I was dealing with personal issues. And instead of relying on attorneys and lawyers, how we do, that's why I've become a next to friend constitutional advocate, because, like I say, you can travel anywhere. You're not restricted, you're not restricted to state compliance, right? You can just go across state lines and help people at your will. But I was dealing with a personal situation. And as we all do, we get tired of um, feeling helpless and feeling like we can't do anything about it, or feeling like finances may be an issue, or that your freedom is in jeopardy because of a lack of knowledge. I
Mhm.
took it upon myself to start studying these things, getting into the local city council, going to sit down at the CFPB meetings or the CPB meetings, Dallas City Hall, Arlington City Hall, just going to sit down,
Right.
listen, see what they saying,
Listen.
right? Start to read these things.
Mhm.
Um, Read the Constitution, read, right, my state constitution, read and understand the difference between what a law is opposed to a statute, a code, a rule, a regulation, a policy, or ordinance, and understand the
Mhm.
difference between the two, how it applies, and what context are these words being applied when they are being used
Right.
in conversation with us. How are we, when conversing amongst ourselves, how are we using these words? That's what it came down to, and it started from a personal issue,
Hmm.
and it led to one thing, led to another. And next thing, it was, man, words aren't what we really think they are.
Okay. You at liberty to discuss what that personal issue was?
Hmm. Hmm. The very first one was a simple traffic ticket. The second one that really took me down a rabbit hole
Mhm.
was one that all melanated men in this part of the country, right, or the world have a problem with: child support. Oh yeah. Oh
Mm.
yeah. Oh, I took it to the max, right? And
Was
right
it
now,
child support, or was it because you felt like there was an injustice being committed against you?
oh, I know it was, right? And then I found it and I filed my own case against the Child Support Administration, because it is indeed a company. It's not regulated by the government at all, come find out. Pursuant to the Title 231 4D court, right? Administered by the 1973 Social Security Act. It is not government sanctioned, nor is it mandated or required by any county. These are the words verbatim within the 231 code that is in every county in every state. So it's not only not mandated or required, but it's completely voluntary by participation. And then when I found out that not only is it voluntary by participation and enrollment only, which means it's an application, just like a job or a credit card. But if I do choose to voluntarily apply and comply after I oblige myself, right?
Now they
Well,
can hold you to the
well,
payment.
no, not even that. Every dollar that I invest, because this is an incentivized program by the federal government. It
Right.
says it's on acf.gov in every Child Support Administration, right, 231 code. Well, this is incentivized by the government. So I invest in this program because that's what it's called. It's called the 231 4D administration program. So I invest in this program, and in Section G, it says, because you invest in this program, the voluntary obligor is due $1 on every invested in the program monthly with interest. If everybody knew that you get $1 for every dollar that is invested into the program monthly with interest, I think that everybody would probably sign themselves up because then
Wait
that
a,
would come.
wait a minute, you're going too fast for me here. Hold on. I'm slow.
Yeah, think about that.
Slow. Okay. So you're saying that A, child support is a voluntary opt-in, and people don't even know that.
Mhm.
And two, you're saying that it is not a payment, but an investment in which the government is promising to match dollar for dollar,
With
okay,
interest.
with interest. And who receives the interest payments, the dividends?
The participating obligor. It says these words verbatim. The
So not the
participating
child, but
obligor.
you,
The
the
obligor,
investor at this point.
usually the father. I'll say it like that.
Oh,
It's the participating obligor. When you see it on the contract, which is the child support arrangement, the suit affecting parent-child relationship, and then they set custody, and then they set payment, you are the obligor. Says
so
it in all capital
how do
letters.
you receive those payments? Or how do
They
you
are
cash in on your investment?
We're not enforcing the fact that we're supposed to receive those payments because we don't know it.
Mm,
And that's what I have been dealing with. So it's not even, I'm not looking to receive interest back on these payments and these payments now. That's not what it's about. Now it's about extrinsic and intrinsic fraud.
hmm.
Now it's about literally fraud
Are
for
you
the fact
in
that
the
you have
middle
a
of this case
Duns and
now?
Bradstreet.
Are you
Hmm?
still litigating the this right now, or have you been
Oh yes.
successful and
Oh yeah.
being compensated?
Oh yeah, no, I've taken it to a federal level. So on the county and the state level, like I said, the state is incentivized. All the counties are involved in the administration of the program. So it wouldn't be in anybody's best interest to go to the person who's doing this to you and ask them to stop.
Wow.
You have to go to a venue that's outside of that, which is the federal. Even though it's federally incentivized, I take it to the federal. And that's where my case is right now. And I'm just literally waiting for the final settlement date because
Wow.
I've caught them red handed.
Wow. And this is not a ploy for you to get out of paying child support, is it?
No,
You
not
can
at all,
take
because
care of your
child
kids.
support is absolutely necessary for people who don't take care of their kids. But the reform that I plan on proposing, because I don't think that it completely should be gone for certain reasons,
Right,
but it should be fair,
right.
right? So not only I'm not I'm not worried about just monetary because I know I have
People
a
lose their
case that
freedom,
is.
they lose their ability to travel, they lose their ability to acquire a passport or leave the country. And those, I think
Mhm.
those penalties are, I think it's unfortunate. How can someone pay child support or take care of their kids if they don't have a license? And
Mhm.
it all is, if you follow the money, it's all about money. Pay for
Mhm.
this, pay for that, pay for this, pay for that. But are the kids really being taken care of, or have we lost sight of why this was institutionalized to begin with?
I think the program itself was to be able for the states to be able to make a program to be able to pay the federal government. So it has nothing to do with the
Mhm.
children whatsoever,
Or pay the government
right?
back for the public assistance they're giving the parents.
They're not providing us they're not providing us any public assistance that's not already coming from our social security numbers, which is a whole other conversation,
This is a
right?
whole
We're
other
like,
conversation because that's not what we're talking about here. Now, I do want to dive deeper into the child support talk, and I think I will have you back because it's so
mhm,
interesting to me. I have very controversial views surrounding child support, and I would like to talk about that. I think child support should be reformed,
mhm.
laws should be reformed, but that is not what we're talking about here. So let's come back to you. Oh my goodness, it's so easy to fall off, go on a tangent because there's so much to talk about. Now, your name on social media, and that's what caught my attention, is Geronimo the Cherokee. When you say Cherokee, what precisely do you mean? Family lineage, documented tribal acceptance or citizenship, cultural affiliation, or all three?
Mm, okay. Um, So let me address one at a time. All right, what's the first one? Right? You said
Family lineage.
family lineage. All right, family lineage. Yes, right.
Documented tribal
That's one of the
citizenship.
reasons why I say yes. Documentation would be another one because the family lineage I have that documentation of, right?
Mhm.
And then
But the
what's the
incorporated, I'm sorry, but the incorporated Cherokee tribe, have they accepted you into their tribe?
Hmm.
A
So I'm
citizen.
glad you asked that question. So the incorporated Cherokee, absolutely not, which I dare not look for any kind of acceptance because I know what is. So if we're gonna have that conversation, I'm glad we can have it. But yeah, yeah.
Okay, I want to dig deeper there, but put a pin on that. Cultural
Mhm.
affiliation. Do you do anything or do you have any passed down traditions that are based in a Cherokee culture?
Mm, okay. So I think yes. And I
Okay.
think a lot of us still do, right? And we don't even know that we do. So I'm going to say something very simple in two things in particular, right? A lot of us still to this day practice agriculture, right?
Mhm.
That is not just even a Cherokee, right, tradition, but that's something that we all, as the blanket term, Indians practice, right? Myself, still to this day. Greetings, Osio, as in a greeting, right? When you say yo to each other, it's just shortened of the word. We don't even understand that we're still using certain words that are of that language still. So it's one of them things. Whereas we do a lot of things that are still traditional and tribal, but we don't understand that we do. And when you go back into the history of it, you learn a lot of those customs and morals, principles, and traditions. You see that you still do them today.
So ethnically, how do you identify?
Ooh, that's a good question. As you get into a family lineage, you'll be able to say exactly who you are. So we know, like, see, the incorporated word would be Cherokee, but we also know that it's right Akwi or Chitakihi or Chickamauga. So that's how I would identify. I definitely don't say American Indian, and that's I'm glad you said that. We'll get into that too, but
Do you identify or acknowledge or recognize any African lineage or ancestry in your bloodline?
no, because I haven't been able to find any. Not on my father's side so far, nor on my mother's side. Like I said, that's going all the way back to 1741. I haven't been able to find any so far. So it was like, no.
Mm, interesting. So there's a spectrum of identity claims online. FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, or Indigenous American, more American National. What are the strongest and weakest parts of these arguments?
More is a term to describe your skin. It's not a nationality because there's
It,
no country of more.
you're absolutely right. It's a more just means black, but there are
Hmm.
Moorish nobility and that established kingdoms all throughout North Africa, and when I say north or north of Africa, which is the so-called Europe.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because you just said something that a whole bunch of people don't even acknowledge.
Hmm.
They don't acknowledge Europe to be North Africa.
Hmm.
All the maps even show it, like 15, 16, 1700 maps. They show that so-called place that is Europe today was North Africa.
Well,
You
yeah,
know, so
and we know that Europa is a term for a beautiful black queen.
yes, man. So there's certain things we don't have to talk about right there. So I'm glad you said that. American National, we have to understand that America itself is indeed a corporation. It has a EIN number, right? So American National is not something that it's not a strong suit or point or thing to be arguing or identifying
But
as
we
at
all
all.
hold passports that say United States citizens.
Even United States citizenship. If you read Title 18, 911, and 912, it tells you that it is actually illegal to be a United States citizen and you will face 3 years in prison or pay a fine thereof to even represent or willfully participate to be a United States citizen.
Really?
Yes.
So we're
Yes.
all illegals.
Yes. You can't even be a United States citizen because United States is a company. It's just like Burger King having citizens. You have
I'm
employees.
sure Burger King got some citizens, many people who eat there.
have very, very
Back,
little
big back.
employees and customers.
Right.
Right.
So we are customers of the United States, making us patrons, making us citizens. Would you agree?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now,
Employees, rather.
and now, what would you claim of? So, what's the difference between an FBA, which is a foundational Black American, and Indigenous American?
There's no difference. They're allowing themselves to be reclassified again.
Mhm.
Uh,
Now,
the-
what do you say to the folks who say, damn, Black people are always trying to be anything but Black, anything but African? You want to separate yourself from the continent, and it is so evident that you are of African lineage. Why are you attaching yourself to the Indians or quote unquote American Indians when they have not claimed you?
I think a lot of people do not have the resources, right? Or even taking initiative to be able to self-identify, right? By going through their family history and doing actual work. It's not something you could just Google. Some of us are fortunate enough to have family members alive, so we can ask certain questions, get certain records directly from the horse, for real. Come straight from the horse mouth. You can get it directly from them, not just the story, but the record. So some of us are that fortunate. A lot of us are not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are able to take these family records that we do have and
Mm-hmm.
then be able to use critical thinking and utilize this thing called the internet
Mm-hmm.
and certain resources that we do have and be able to go further into these resources that we do have available to us and find what we need that coincides with current records that we do have. Now we didn't further extended the knowledge that we do have on family lineage.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is with a lot of people. It's just they just don't have that either initiative or for some reason they just not fortunate enough to have family members that are still alive or have certain records who don't have that critical thinking to be able to do the digging and access those things.
Now,
We a
in
lot of us.
fairness, you said you can go back, at least for your family, to 1741, which is remarkable. I'm
Mm-hmm,
searching, you right? 1741. That tells me that there is still a gap or there is still a space of unknowns. Were they here prior to 1741, or did they come over on an earlier slave ship, or
mm-hmm,
they come over on earlier explored ships, or were they here from the beginning of the separation of Pangea? Like they were here. They were here, just like people were in Africa and people were in Asia
mm-hmm,
from the separation of the land. Or I'm trying to in my mind reconcile when did the people get here? And as you can see, even with the Siberians who came over, who they in turn want to call the Mayans, the Incas, or even
mm-hmm,
Native Americans, they're questioning when did they really come over on that land bridge? Were they not always here? Or were the oceans closer and they were able to canoe over? Or it's just so many questions. So the
mm-hmm.
question I asked, because here's why I'm also asking, because it is really uncanny to me how some of the things that people do, I'm sorry, don't know, something went down the wrong pipe. Some
You're
of the
fine.
things that people don't know is that, for example, in the Grand Canyon, they found hieroglyphics, Egyptian style hieroglyphics. Is it possible? And we know on every Egyptian wall, especially in the pyramids, you see the big ships that they used to create. And this is thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. We like to think of ancient history as something primitive, as if our ancient ancestors were not nautical, were not astronomers, mathematicians, were not builders. And I think that's completely false. They had technology.
Yes.
So where do you place? I said all that to say or ask. When do you think your people came over, or were they always here?
Us as a people, and I don't like to use the term indigenous American because I understand, like I said, American to be a corporation as a part of the United States of America.
Yeah.
So what I do know for a fact is from treaties that I have read myself all the way back to one of the very first trusts established in 1329, which is the Unum Sanctum, in which the Pope claimed plenipotentiary and dominion over the whole entire world. And this was 4 years after the Council of Nicaea. So when
Mm,
people see the actual timeline, 1,000 years was added to the calendar. Then that's why we think we in the year 2025 or whatever, right? 1324, 1329, 1325, 1329. These are actually the year 325, 329,
mm,
right? When all this stuff is going on and taking place, the 1400s is when they say, oh, Christopher Columbus, right? So now think about, like I said, how these 1329, 1400, it's only 100-year gap. It lets you know that people have been coming over here for a long time. Christopher Columbus was Portuguese, right? Looking for a route to India, calling the Americas, just for the sake of using the word, the West Indies. So, right, that goes to show you that, okay, Portuguese, melanated people came here. You have that Portuguese presence to this day.
mhm,
South America, Brazil, speak Portuguese, right? It's like one of those things where you can see we speak the language of our conquerors from people coming over here for hundreds of years,
mhm,
1500s, and even around the same time, King of England, he's sending people over here. We have treaties, 15, 1600s with the King of England.
mhm,
He's coming over here. He's attempting to set up shop.
mhm,
These are melanated people.
mhm,
Giovanni Verrazzano, Italian man, but he's melanated. He's an African. Same thing you said, African going to that part of Europe.
mhm.
1524, he acknowledges us over here. He says they look like Ethiopians with just copper skin and they got ponytails to the back of their head. He didn't say once that they were Africans. He said they looked like Ethiopians.
Mhm.
He knew that they weren't us.
As Africa was called Ethiopia for many years after,
Mm-hmm.
so African, the continent of what they're calling Africa now was called Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone through several names based on who is telling the story about the land, but Al-Kibalum, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Became
it's a whole bunch of names.
Kemet, Kush. No.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said like Kim and the Kush, right? I used to, even leading up to that time, I ask a lot of African people,
Mhm,
right? I asked them, I say, hey, some of y'all most ancient spiritual practices, would you agree go back to ancient Kemetic principles and
mhm,
teachings, right?
mhm.
And I've yet to talk to one to say that they disagree. They all of my everyone they say yes.
Who do you,
Ancient Kemetic
who,
teaching spirituality,
who you ask?
right?
Yeah, who you asking?
It's Africa. Like anybody that's African I talk to, I always ask them. I say, hey, what does no matter what religion or what kind of
Yeah,
does it all go back to ancient Kemetic principles for you?
it does.
And they all say yes.
Yeah. Even
And
the
the thing about my bad, I was bringing that up for a reason. The thing about that is all the ancient Kemetic deities are all animals that are native to the Americas only.
mm,
Basset is a mountain lion. Horse is a falcon. There aren't falcons of that nature native to Africa.
really.
I'm just saying, this is fact.
Hmm.
This if you say this to one of them and then you ask them that question, like you see what I'm saying, they'll say, huh, yeah,
Well, I mean, for
Anubis.
me, I was convinced enough that the pharaohs and the Egyptians had been over to the Western Hemisphere. I was satisfied enough with the fact that cocaine was found in his tomb.
I mean, what does that
And
tell
the
you?
cacao leaf, the cocoa leaf, not cacao.
Yeah.
If I say cacao, I'm talking about chocolate.
No,
But
I feel you. I feel
the
you.
cocoa leaf only grows on this
Yeah.
hemisphere.
The Anubis, the jackalhead dog, is from Mexico.
Hmm.
That dog is
Have those,
6,000
they
years
do
old, and
have those dogs looking, all the dogs in the Caribbean look like that.
that dog is only native to Southern America. So
Wow.
that goes to show you when you ask them, hey, your ancient Kemetic principles that you believe in, do you know that all of the deities are
Well, that
native to the
deserves to
Americas?
be. I'll look deeper into what you say there. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But I do want to move this conversation along. This is very interesting, Geronimo. Wow.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. You were going to
I'm
say
sorry.
something?
I was trying to do the timeline for you. Right,
Oh,
13,
go
14,
ahead, please, because
15.
that's what I was going to get into. I was going to
Yeah, right, right.
go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
treaty show
Mhm,
15, 1600. So it's talking about like Giovanni Verrazzano, right?
mhm,
1500, 1600. Him and even now the King of England is coming as well. He has treaties with the Powhatan, 1677 treaty with the Powhatan.
mhm,
There's even one that's even prior to that, early 1600s. And they coming. This is where the New England colonies, in the sense, are starting to be right established. Those 13 original colonies, whatever, is where this is starting to happen. But we are spread amongst the whole Americas. We are predominantly in the Northeast region, where you see Algonquin, where you see Iroquois, where you see Chippewa, where you see Ottoman, where you see Miami, because Miami is really in Detroit. The port of Miami is really Detroit. The map is upside down, right?
mhm,
This is actually in treaties showing it that
mhm,
the original port of Miami is Detroit. So
mhm,
the original Miami Indians are people of Detroit,
mhm,
right? They start coming to all these places and they consolidate us, push us down into the Powhatan region, which is more of the Virginias. They're coming into the Virginias as well,
mhm,
push us down further south, right into right Seminole region, right where you got Florida, Floridians, right, where Cherokees and things of that nature, or the Carolinas, right?
mhm,
Pushing them out west, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, to where you finally get the freedom of Oklahoma. And
mhm,
this when we finally cede to the United States as United States citizens in 1924. So this is what we're calling the 400 years of slavery is
mhm,
from the 1600s all the way up to 1924 of contract signing and reclassifying us from Indians to Negro and colored. And it's all treaties that are actually that are deposited in the Library of Congress, as well as accredited prestigious education institutions like Oklahoma State University.
mhm.
And I talked to a woman online. She had a degree in African American studies, and I asked her, did she go over these treaties? She said, yeah, we touched on them all for 5 minutes, but if I didn't take the time to go through them myself, I wouldn't be able to have the conversation with you and understand exactly what you're saying when, dang, the slavery is the 400 years of contract signing and reclassification. Now
Is
we're living out 1924 to 2024, 2025. Now we've been living out the reclassification fully as now Black, African American, now FBA. We've completely, now we're reclassifying ourselves. They brainwashed us so much that we're doing it ourselves now. And it shows the direct timeline of how cities were established, how the US Senate came in and claimed plenipotentiary over all the tribes. It's where you get the Bureau of Indian Affairs, where you see the League of the Six Nations, what they call the five civilized tribes is really something called the League of the Six Nations, and
mm,
they all come together. It's like the Powhatan dynasties, the Delaware nations. This is the Cherokee. This is Chickasaw, Choctaw. They all come together under an umbrella, which becomes the Confederacy. This is the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag belongs to. This is where that came from. This was the first Confederacy here. And the Civil War shows that it's really us in the South who's been pushed from the Northeast down to the South and being pushed out west, fighting against the establishment of the United States. They're trying to establish themselves as the United States here, and we're fighting against it. It shows it in these treaties. That's truly what's happening. Even shows Thanksgiving. Even it gives the direct timeline over a course of 400 years, right? So everybody's questioning that big blank spot was like, what exactly happened here? The treaties will directly match your family records to the T. If you can go or even back to the 16 and 1700s, like myself, one of the oldest records I have from 1741, that relative is about 60, 70 years old on that record, which means he was born in the 1600s. the late 16th. So I know for a fact that we're from Wake County, North Carolina. We've been there since the 1600s. You see what I'm saying? So we've been there for all these years. We really lived out the reclassification. One of my documents leading a couple hundred years later is showing, okay, but dang, 1877, the Cherokees, where the Cherokee Nation is founded, is exactly in the exact county where my family's from.
But in the early
So
1600s, isn't that when slave ships started coming to the Virginia area?
those were, I'm about to say something.
Go ahead.
Those were African people.
Mm-hmm.
One, because they were indentured servants fleeing from the King of England, from Portugal, Spain, and France. France had been fighting for Morocco for the longest time. Morocco came into establishment in 1912, right? Or 1954, but they were fighting for their independence from France since 1912. So France has always been fighting for that, but they are originally African people going up there, establishing themselves as France, and then fighting to come back and get Morocco and make it a part of it. Right, so this is the part that we're missing. They're all African coming over here. Even the white tea or pale people, right? They are African. They all call themselves European, do they not?
Mm.
Europe is originally inhabited by African people of melanated complexion. And biblically, they are the cursed people who was given leprosy. It's in our face. The Bible is the past, the present, and the future happening all at the same time, what people don't
Who
understand.
has leprosy?
Pale people.
Oh, okay.
Caucasians are, yes, they are the folks with leprosy. The
Mm.
Alps is the so-called Caucasus Mountains. This is public information. This ain't like, oh, the Caucasus Mountains is somewhere where no, the Caucasus Mountain is the Alps, which is in North Africa. This that region in that cave they was all in and all that good stuff. And this is what the Moors say, where they was fighting a group of pale people that was crawling on all fours. This is public information now. They civilized these people, start procreating with them, shaved them, taught them how to stand there. Oh, they say, oh, they acknowledge these things. So this is how you tie it together. This is the actual timeline of it. And they brought them, they adopted a lot of them into their families. They brought them over here as indentured servants. They were fighting for from taxation and religious freedom from they oppressors over there in their country, the King of England, and people were trying to establish themselves as a sultan and things of that nature after the fall of the Bourbon Ottoman Empire, because that's what that was at one point in time, where you have Turks and right Arabs, things of that nature, Black Muslims. That's all that they're all African. Everybody that came over here, even if you were so-called pale, was African, and shows it on the treaties. Only African and pale African were referred to as white and Black people on treaties. All American Indians were referred to as colored and Negro people. It
Wow.
shows it black and white.
Hmm. That is amazing. Now, whoa, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot.
All right. So you are plain language. You've explained that you're Cherokee and your lineage is enough to validate that.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are the recognized tribal nations today? And how to enroll, how do enrollment criteria differ?
Those recognized tribes today are people who have adopted our names, and they are federally recognized. Federal just means business. It just means bigger business. That's what everybody need to understand, right? So a
Mhm.
federally recognized tribe, when you actually, again, read the Federal Bureau of Indian Affairs, you understand that they are all United States citizens under the 1924 Snyder Act. So
Mhm.
it's like look at it almost like a college campus. There's an EIN number associated with it. It's like a college campus being set up on its own. It's got its own little supposed police department, judges,
All
all
right,
that
they're
good stuff.
supposed to be sovereign and not indeed American citizens.
But they're not, because the
They're,
1924
they're
Snyder Act says that they are.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're American citizens, but they're also sovereign in their own right under the
Mm-mm.
laws of their tribes.
Mm-mm. Because you can't be both,
Mm.
right? You're either sovereign or you're a citizen. That's why that whole word sovereign citizen is
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it
That's
looks.
what confused me because
Mhm,
I remember as a little girl growing up in Miami, Florida, the Miccosukee were right there, and I learned that they act like they have their own territory marked off. It's demarked from the city limits. But in fact, instead of, and I did a project where I was interviewing homeless, and I learned a lot of interesting facts about people on the street. And to this day, I just love talking to people, right? But
mhm,
this was a class project, and I interviewed a few folks. One of the women that I interviewed on the streets was explaining to me how she's of the Mucasuki tribe,
mhm,
and they tell everybody else that they are a protected subgroup or reservation. They're protected off into a reservation, when in fact what they did was sequester those people, round them up like cattle, put a big, huge barbed wire fence around acres of land that they cannot penetrate out of.
mm.
And people have been sniped, unalived upon leaving, upon escaping. It's almost like they are imprisoned and people don't talk about it. People don't know. It's right on the other side of the swamps in,
Hmm.
yeah, on the west side of Miami, like west, all the way west, like you're going towards the Gulf of Mexico. And
Hmm.
every time we took and that road that we would take, my family would take annual trips, beach days we would vacation in Naples Beach
Mm.
because not only did we have family there, but we loved the beach there. Clear waters, it's just gorgeous in Naples. And that one road, which is Chrome, Chrome Avenue, or it's something like that, or Flagler Street. Sometimes we could take Flagler Street, and there's always a road that goes east to west on coming up on Florida from the south all the way up. And so you could take Flagler, you could take Chrome Avenue. Just every time we were on that road, and I could see, we clearly, it's this whole big, you start seeing the swamps, this canal that runs parallel to the highway, and which means it won't be easy to jump that fence and get in that water. You might get eaten by an alligator or something. And that high trees, high barbed wire fence, fenced off. On that other side of that fence and forest are the Miccosukee,
This is a reservation.
supposedly. It's still there today.
Yeah, that sounds like a prison campus.
Yeah.
And okay, so yeah, that kind of goes to show, right? To be federally recognized is not what people think it is, right? Like I said, you are still deemed a U.S. citizen. That is the law of the United States,
Hmm.
right? Like I said, if
Would you suggest that someone try to obtain a Cherokee citizenship or be acknowledged as a Cherokee?
absolutely not, because it's the incorporated version or word of it. It's a business. They have franchised it. So it's not like it's
Hmm.
same thing as Wyandotte or Delaware. Delaware has always been here. These are Delaware Indians, but it's being called Delaware right today in that region is that small. But Delaware was enormous. It was a country. They acknowledge it as a actual nation and a country of people, the Delaware Indians. You see what I'm saying?
Now,
You
you
know,
had the privilege of really pinpointing that you were indeed of indigenous, right? Bloodline or family lineage, family line. How does one find out if they are indeed indigenous?
this is one of the best ways you could do it. And like I said, like this will take you to not history. This will show you the direct story. If you are fortunate enough again to have direct family records, I'm talking about 17 and 1800s in particular, because this is some of the most important times right here.
Hmm.
People think that the 16, 17, and 1800s is like again it's a blank spot, but then again it's it don't matter. No, that is what matters the most, because all of the information that we're looking for to say you are or that you aren't lies right there. They had to document all these things,
What year?
right? Hmm?
What's the year?
from the 16 to, I'm gonna say, the 1900s, because this is the
Wow.
400 years of
And
slavery. What they saying?
and what's the key words that they're looking for?
You're going to be looking, and this stuff exists. Is not even hard no more.
Let them know, because we're coming up to time. So I'm like, I'm
Okay,
looking
you're
for my constituents.
hmm you're going to be looking for Negro and colored on your family's records.
Hmm.
Literally, even some of our parents have Negro and colored on their birth certificates and things of that nature.
Right.
Their parents have Negro and colored on it. That's going to be your first indication.
Hmm.
From them, everybody that comes before them, of course, would be Negro and colored. So as you go back to further documents, you're going to see that they records say Negro and colored as well. You're going to eventually get to a treaty. And when you see some of these documents, it may be a military record or a registration card in this particular state or area, or this marriage certificate in this state or area, right? And showing it or census report. And these records are going to directly match up with the year of a treaty being signed of a group of Indians, rather they Tuscarora, Mohawk, Onondagas, Cayuga, Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Washita, Miami, Delaware, whether you any of these being reclassified to Negro and colored people on black and white. And
So
you're gonna see,
there's an actual treaty. It's an act of Congress
oh
that
yeah,
that
yes, ma'am.
reclassifies people from Indian to from black to Indian. Now I've heard of Caucasians being reclassified as Indian because they wanted that $5 land.
That's what a lot of the dolls rolls are.
That's where we get the $5 Indian from.
Yes, that's where the Siberian and the Mongolian come in too. They
Yeah, they
come and do
pay yeah,
that.
not the $5 land, but they pay $5 and they're all of a sudden Indian.
Yes, that's where that comes from. But the treaties literally say from the 1600s. There is something called the Treaty of Indian Affairs, Volume 1 and 2, published in the Library of Congress. You can go read it yourself. I read all 2,200 of it.
Say the title again. I'll put it on the screen for those who missed it as well.
Treaty of Indian Affairs, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Okay.
Please go read it, because it's going to tell you verbatim.
Mm.
France, Spain, England, Portugal, Africa
Let's
all
check
came
these.
over here collectively. The 40 acres and a mule is us having to give up our land to these people who are inhabited today as the United States government. You
Mm.
can't make it up. And everybody as Indians are being reclassified as Negro and colored people. It
Now,
says these things.
having this knowledge, what do you gain out of having learned all of this? What's the next step now? Do you immerse yourself in Cherokee culture? What's your cultural participation? Do you learn the language? Do you enter the society, the community, and do some service work? What happens? What do you do now?
Because we know where we coming from, we know where we going, right? So now we understand a lot of actual ancient tribal customs and traditions, and that we had actual governments set up in
Mhm.
like councils and things of that nature. We were not barbarians in the United States, and everybody else that came over here 400 years ago and plus acknowledged it as so, nations and countries of people. So we're going back to those customs and traditions, right? That they acknowledge, right? That's not hard to do because we see that we have it, right?
And
We
what
know
is
where we came
what
from, we know
would
where
be
we're going.
okay, and what do you think would be the geographic reach of, say, Indigenous Americans? And
The geographic.
I'm calling it Indigenous Americans for lack of a better term, American Indian. I just, even for the American Indians who we thought were American Indians, I never liked the term American Indian because we're not in India.
That too. Like I said, when you find your family lineage, like I said, it's going to match up with a certain group of people that are in a certain part of the country that identified as a group of people. That's how you gonna know what type of Indian you are.
Mhm.
It's literally that simple. Like when you see, oh, my people from Virginia, and they've been there since the 1600s. 9 times out of 10, you a Powhatan, because that's the people that inhabited that part of the world. You see what I'm saying? For hundreds of years. While the invaders were coming. If you from the North Carolina or South Carolina, you probably some private types of Gullah, right? You probably Geechee, or you probably, like I said, Cherokee, Chalakwe,
Choctaw.
Chitakee, Chickamauga, right? Maybe Washita, right? Yeah. If you Mississippi or Florida, Seminole, same thing. Yeah, that's all Gullah, that's all Geechee. If you were Mississippi, Alabama, any of them region, right? Yeah, Choctaw, Washita, right, Chickasaw, all is if your people go back to any of them regions 300-400 years, you're gonna know what kind of Indian. Your people go all the way back to Detroit. 400 years ago, you a Miami Indian, because that's what they were.
Now, where does FBA and Indigenous people of America, where do you intersect?
It's just like I said, it's just a reclassification. Same way as black and right African American, Negro and colored. It's just literally stripping you from who you are, and it's taking you further and further away from your real rights and your privileges, which is the land, which we really be talking about, our land patents.
Uh-huh. Uh. Now, respectfully, I've been a little bit dismayed, disenchanted with especially TikTok, where a lot of people who claim to either be American Indians, Indigenous folks, or FBA are really disparaging other groups of people. Where do you stand on that argument?
I think it's to further cause division. If we understand that we are recycled energy, like it can be created or destroyed, just transferred at this point, then these people that did these things 300-400 years ago, we're still dealing with them within our families, friends, co-workers, strangers. They still exist. They just wearing different shells and meat suits, or they're in different vessels right now. Like I said, the Bible is past, present, future, all happening at the same time. It's all just it's a repeat. It's a rinse,
Mhm.
wash, repeat.
So, how
One hundred percent.
intertwined is your spiritual practice with your culture?
No, one more time.
How intertwined is your spiritual practice with your culture?
Very. We do a lot of things. Like I said, like yes, like earlier, right? A lot of customs and traditions and stuff like that. Like for one, understand that we had certain, I ain't gonna call it diet, certain means of nutrition. Like even myself, I haven't ate meat in 8 years now. So it's all plants, it's all fruit, it's all goddamn. So sorry, cousin. It's all those things. As far as like even fasting, right? We know that fasting is something that we've done, right? Not just nutrition, but like, right, but then even the way that we go about it on certain days that we go about it, races we go about it, really getting into the Sabbath for real, the rest day, something that we practice for real. Saturday, you do nothing. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Meditate, ground, get back to, right?
You grew up Seven-Day
Um,
Adventist or something?
hmm?
Did you grow up Seven-Day Adventist?
No,
Okay.
no. That's just understanding, like I said, like the the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Injil, the Holy Tablets, Dead Sea Scrolls, Papyrus of Annie, the Book of Thoth, any of these things, and all of these things are just missing parts of each other, or
Yeah.
just they're all saying the same thing. So when you understand that, you
Yeah.
able to actually decode it and be like, all right, this is what it's truly saying.
Yeah.
This is what we're supposed to be doing.
There's
You know
something
what
else
I mean?
I'm curious about Geronimo, and I don't mean to cut you off. Did I cut you off?
I know you.
Okay. Because I tend to do that. What would you say, and if you've ever thought about it, or if that's even something that you consider, but what do you say to folks who believe a certain blood type really holds the key to who was here first?
I say the people that say the blood type will hold the key.
There's a certain
Uh,
blood type.
I think the blood type is all that matters, because there's something that is for sure, and that is fact.
Mhm.
Not even only on paper, but it shows again today. It
Uh-huh.
shows today, not just on paper, over a course of 700 years that we have documented.
Mhm.
But
What blood type would you say that is?
what
I'm
I
sorry,
can't
my
say
chair
for
is over
sure,
here rolling.
because what I can't say for sure is
Um,
what is the dominant blood type of the indigenous people of this land.
uh-huh.
Like I don't, because we didn't like.
What do you think is the dominant blood type of people in this land?
I don't know what that is. I can't say. I can't say I know what that is.
Well, I've read that it's O negative. You
I
can,
see. Can't agree, disagree. I'm not a
you can
person
look
that's
it
gonna
up.
agree or disagree with something that I'm not.
Yeah, you can look it up.
So
I'll
like, yeah.
definitely verify as well. I'm expecting you to share the treaties with me because
Well, this why I say this. Is why I say that. 'Cause I'm glad you like that question. And I'll make it real short. From the treaties, like I said, even going all the way back to 1600s, and then even further back, like I said, 1300, we see that there has been a cohesive agreement
Hmm.
between multiple nations outside of this place to come here
Yeah.
and steal the birthright and the resources of the people here. And it shows to this day the
Mhm.
United States government, even in South America, is all have been infiltrated by foreigners.
Okay,
There's
so
not a whole bunch of us
when
that are
you're
in places
arguing,
of.
I'm sorry. So I hear you, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. I told you I do that sometimes,
No,
only
you're good. You're
because
good.
I already hear and understand what you're saying. Now,
Mm.
when you say that, does that mean you include the Caribbean? The Caribbean is always being left out.
Oh, absolutely. No, the
You
Caribbean is us.
FBAs like to talk a lot of crap about Haitians, Jamaicans. Y'all just choose Haitians and Jamaicans to bash.
No, Haitians and Jamaicans are us. They so what happened as well too, right? Like I said, like the treaty with the Powhatan and stuff like that. It'll literally show you that too, right? A lot of us were exiled, or that was a part of the transatlantic slave trade. A lot of us indigenous here were sent to the Caribbeans.
Mm.
That's where they're originally from here. That's where, like I said, like the city of Chicago was helped founded by a Haitian. You see what I'm saying? But
But I
he's
just
originally
asked my
from
daughter
here.
that this morning. Do you know his name?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Because we
You know
are
his
the same
name.
people.
Put some respect on his name. Do you know his name?
No, I don't know his name. I always forget his name. Every time somebody got
Jean
to
Baptiste.
remind me all the
His
time.
name is, let me tell you. Let me tell you. I need y'all to put some respect on my brother's name. His name is Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable.
Jean Baptiste. That's there we go. I don't know his whole name.
Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable.
What's the last part?
Point du Sable.
See, I'm gonna have to practice that.
Well, yeah, the direct translation would be point of sand.
Hmm. Okay. That man, you hear me? That great man
Hmm.
was, yes, he came to help right the fight, but he was originally from here. It wasn't like he just
Well,
came from Haiti magically, then came to help. He was already from here. You
you
know
said,
what I mean? Like I don't know if you've seen the movie
you say
12
he's
Years.
already from here?
Yes, like I said, like you have to take into account like the 12 years of slavery. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I
Literally
did.
shows you. Remember that this land was vast. This is big. We only see in 60% of our states today, 40% of our states today. 60% of every state is uninhabited, unincorporated land.
No,
So
Geronimo, I'm just a quick point of correction. He was born in IET. He was born when during the time when the French had control of Haiti, so they called Haiti the whole island either Hispaniola, but at the time it was being called Saint-Domingue. That's where he was actually born. And he
with
came,
South America,
no, Haiti, IET, land of
that's
the
what I'm saying. Like, it's just South America.
Boyo.
No, that's what I mean by here. Like when people
Oh,
think like we
no,
separate.
he's
Somebody
not
said
from,
something the other.
yeah, no, he was not born in Africa or on the other side. He was,
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. No, that's not what I'm saying at
okay.
all.
Okay.
Like when I say here, like somebody said the other day, like they was trying to separate South
They do
America
be
from.
separating us. That's why I gotta always clarify.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm no. Yeah, don't get me wrong. No, I'm not separating the Caribbean or South America from. No, we're all the same people. He's from here, like the Americas. He's
Mhm.
from it. I had to say this to somebody the other day. I said, this called the United States because it lets you know that this is the corporation doing business here. But then you also have a place that's connected to it that's not called the United States. What is it called? South America. That lets you know that one is connected and it is America still. So you can't separate the two.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
All
They're
right.
here doing business collectively. America literally is
Yeah.
Spain,
So
France,
tell
Portugal,
your
England,
people
and
that are
Africa.
in the United States of America, stop bashing Haitians and Jamaicans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't know what they're talking about. Because like I said, like on my father's side, like I said, you know what I mean? Like it's showing a whole bunch of my stuff is going back to Haiti and Jamaica, right?
Mhm.
And even from certain surnames and things of that nature. No, the islands are not separate from us. No, we're all the same people.
Cool.
So yeah, that's
Uh,
what I mean. Like they from here. Yeah.
okay. We certainly have so much to talk about and so many branches that can stem from this first conversation. So this is not our only conversation, and I really appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. I'll make sure I got better lighting and all that good stuff next time.
You're so good. You're so good because what you were talking about was still so poignant and impactful. It was really riveting to hear, and I learned a lot.
All right, well, I'm glad. And
Um,
I'm I appreciate you having me. Like for real. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Before I let you go, I have three rapid fire questions that I want to ask you. One myth you'd like to retire forever.
That we are or not indigenous. We are the I was going to retire that. Like we are those people.
Hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
One record set most people overlook.
One record set that people overlook.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think to actually ooh, yeah, this hasn't been done yet. This hasn't been done at least in a long time, right? To re- reunify us not in the means of business and reclassification again. Not like Hebrew Israelite, not Nation Islam, not FBA, not whatever, to do it the right way. And we'll have to have another conversation about that. But yep.
Okay. So are you saying that this would be a whole new record of people classifying themselves, at least this time
Oh,
classifying ourselves and people classifying themselves as indigenous? Is that what you're saying?
civics, economics, logistics, infrastructure. We
Building
talking
the
about
whole
a
government
people. Yes.
because you need a
Yes.
nation.
Hmm.
I get it. All right. One respectful first action listeners can take this week. One
Go,
respectful first action listeners can take this week.
go get a Library of Congress account, which is free. That's where you'll start to find a whole bunch of family lineage and even these treaties I'm talking about is going to match your family documents.
Mm, that's
There's
good.
a couple other sources too, but you
Hmm.
said one. I mean, so what is it's a couple other ones that you can all go together, but that
Go
yes.
ahead and give the others.
Fold3.com. I want to say I'm so bad
Say
because
it. What is it?
I want to give half game to people. Fold piece of paper, right?
Hmm.
Fold3.com.
Hmm. What
Go
is that?
on there. I'm begging people to go on there.
What is
Go
that?
on there, especially if you are indigenous indeed. Go
All
get
right.
your military records from your people because it's gonna have a draft card, registration card, what war they fought in, what time, what assignments, what position they were, what ranking kind of officer they were. I'm talking about in higher ranking officers was allotted more plots of land via patent. So especially when you came home, and even if you didn't come home, your family was still allotted more acres of land if you was a higher ranking officer.
Mhm.
Go get all of them records. Is going to show even if your family name changed, because a lot of these people didn't expect us to make it back from these wars, so they
Wow.
changed your name after it. So this where you see a lot of name changing. Go get the fold3.com. Go get the Library of Congress account. It is free. And go get ancestry.com. Ancestry.com is owned by the Library of Congress. When you start typing in names that you
Really?
already have and that you find,
Hmm.
the Library of Congress is one of the oldest libraries on the whole entire continent. It
Hmm.
will literally surf through millions of documents for you, and it's going to send you newspaper articles, census reports, marriage record certificates, all types of stuff. And it's going to ask you, hey, are these your people? It's going to have pictures, all types of stuff. Is these your folks? And
Hmm.
you'll be able to match it. Like, oh, dang, that's my, yeah, that's was born. Oh, she gave birth. Oh, that person married into our family. That's where that maiden name, where that name comes from.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it shows you, and you build a piece your tree together.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have an ancestry.com. Let me stop acting like I don't.
Yeah, this is how we do it
Yeah.
though. For real, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it.
And I know people are against it, but I did 23andMe many years ago, and they have my DNA out there. I don't consent to anything else, but I just really was desperate to find some connections. Uh,
Man,
and yeah, I did that. Then today I wouldn't recommend 23andMe given their data breach.
yeah.
Anyone who's dealing with your personal artifacts can are subjected to a data breach at some point, but I am interested or keen to learn more about African American ancestry.com. That don't quote me, that's not the direct email URL, but do a search for there's a Black owned genome company that does that. Yeah,
Mm,
just like Yaki does DNA testing to create a whole nutrition system for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that, brother.
Oh
They
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
can do it down to your tribe.
Hmm.
hmm So I'm keen on doing that. It's a bit expensive though. I'm trying to wait around the holidays when they can offer some type of maybe two for one, and I can because it's always good to do it with, for example, you're a man, do it with a sister because she'll have access to the matriarchal line, and
Hmm.
and you will have access to your paternal line that gives her information because I don't get to have information on my dad's paternal line because my dad has since passed. And doing a DNA on the female, we only have the matriarchal.
Hmm. Um.
Mhm.
You know what I would suggest, and not to deter you from it, what I would suggest, and which is way less cost effective, is
Mhm.
your matriarchs that are alive now.
Mhm.
If you have any of their names, or you know them, and then they can give you names of people that gave birth to them, or
Mhm.
at least they grandmothers,
Mhm.
right? That is the perfect place to start
Yeah.
because at least 3 or 4 generations back is
Mhm.
going to literally tell you where the reclassification is depending on what part of the country you are
Yeah.
in.
But I found it lacking for the Caribbean, though. It was
The Caribbean.
lacking some years ago, and I'm not opposed to looking again. I was redirected to Haitian-based archives on the island itself, but many times with the disasters and different change of government and such, I've come to understand or made to believe that a lot of the documents in our historical archives are missing. Whereas Haiti had some of the oldest artifacts and writings. So a lot of that was taken and lost, but I just blame it on the occupation, the American occupation between, yeah. Uh,
America got it somewhere.
and America
You need to
got
keep
us for a lot. And but I was able to see some beautiful artifacts of when we were an empire and golden scepters and gold
mm,
crowns and insignias and coat of arms and some beautiful artifacts in our one of our library museums is a historical museum called Mupana, and Mupana is really an acronym, but I'm not gonna go into that right now because I can't remember. So it's obviously a very long acronym, right? Because it's Mupana, Mupan Pan AH. So that's a lot of words to, yeah, as an acronym. Yeah. Anything final other that you want to share with my people? Because I'm gonna
mm.
start rambling here.
No, no, you're fine. On top of, like I said, it's real easy to find out who you are and what type of people you are. Like, so when you follow these treaties and these documents, then you'll be able to find land patents. That's a whole nother conversation. That's when we get into township and being able to come back together and do this
Mhm.
record that I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we
And
need
I'm
to get
still going to look into ancestry.com. I think a lot of people, the misconception, and I share that too, is that they don't have our information because we're in the Caribbean, whereas they do. And you can
they
find
do.
migration stories and either back and
They
forth because you already know how they did. So I know we can find it.
Oh yeah, yeah, they got stuff about like I said, every other country coming over here and doing what they did to all these places because they're
Mhm.
disguising themselves as the United States of America. That's
Mhm.
what everybody don't know.
Mm.
France, Spain, Portugal, England, Africa are the United States of America, and it shows it in these treaties. This is a
Wow.
group that comes together as these people. So you
So they're
see
not
it.
coming together as
This
NATO?
no, they're not coming as Spain. They're not coming as France. They're not coming as, they're literally coming as the United States of America,
Oh my
setting up themselves here. The United States is saying, hey, under our authority, which is nothing but refugees from these places coming together, saying, hey, you other countries, we're going to give y'all governments authority here because they have to pay taxes to those places. That's what like Treaty of Tripoli and Algiers, they don't even understand that when these more we talk, they don't understand that they are under a taxation from
We
their
don't even
country.
know
This is
what
not
we're
what we're
doing over there.
They have no idea how the treaty really. That's why I studied contract law so much, because every contract in every country, every nation is a trust. Just like Walmart is a trust. Just
Right.
like everything is a trust. So you understand trust law to the
Well,
highest degree, which
we
is right.
definitely want to talk about more about that because it's important that people establish their trust,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Yeah,
for their legacy, for
that's
their heritage, for their children.
that's how this whole thing is started. So your birth certificate
Yeah,
is a trust.
sure.
People don't understand it. So
Well, in
the
our
whole
next conversation, we need to unpack that. We need to unpack child support, how your birth
Mhm.
certificate is indeed a trust, how's your social security number indeed a bank account for you, how are bonds taken out on your name, what is
Mhm.
the difference between you and a straw man? I want to really dig into that next time we talk. How you feel about that?
I that's what I do. You hear me? How I say, oh, that's what I do. Yes.
Got excited.
And
So
hmm
we'll schedule that. Geronimo, this has been incredible. To everyone listening, wrote a closing, I say, see, identity deserves truth and care, not shortcuts. And today we separated self-identity or self-identification from what governments and tribes actually recognize. And we honored the work of documenting our stories with evidence and respect. If this episode helped you, if you're watching and you feel like this episode has helped you or sparked some interest in you, please start your family record. Pull it, as Geronimo has given you several ways that you can do that. And I'll be putting his links in the description. All right. So when you start your family record, you want to um, pull it this week, right? And you want to
hmm
pull birth, death, marriage dates, census reports, and talk with your elders, as Geronimo says. Talk to your elders, anyone that is still alive. Um, Talk to them and ask them questions. Then you want to visit the official enrollment resources of the nation you're researching because you don't want to just join a nation. You want to research, you know, and if this is about understand exactly why you are doing this search and that would keep you motivated or not get sidetracked. Geronimo, thank you so much for your clarity and integrity. Family, subscribe, share this with someone tracing their roots, and join the conversation on our socials because we will continue this conversation on TikTok. You already know, right, Geronimo?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Until next time, walk with wisdom, document with diligence, and keep your heart open to who you are and who you are becoming. Thank you so much for joining the Empress Addi Show. Like and subscribe. Peace.